Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video, and today as you can see we are finally back on Project Cars 2, and we're here today on the brand new Porsche expansion. This literally released within the last hour, and when I saw it I was really wanted to try and get onto it today. So we are in the brand new Porsche 911 RSR. I would have thought probably the most important car for most people to come out of this pack, obviously with the way GT3 and GTE racing is so quickly evolving within sort of motorsport at the moment. You know, it is becoming a firm fan favourite, but also as well I thought it only seemed fair that we take it to the brand new DLC track coming out today, the Porsche Leipzig on-road circuit. Now in terms of the other cars on this roster, we have got the 1971 908-03 Spider, we've got the Porsche 1973 911 Carrera RSR, the 917-10, which is just 220 miles an hour there. A lot of these cars more sort of classic based, and as you see, they're mainly all from the 70s really, so this 911 as well as one other does sort of come in a completely different region to the rest. That one I'm such a big fan of, although it does look a little bit odd because obviously that sort of colours really does remind me of the Porsche GT40. But last but certainly not least, if I can find it, I think we've got a couple more as you can see just around. We have got, in my opinion, probably my favourite car from this pack, the Porsche Carrera GT, which I may try and make a video on down the line as well. That V10 I can imagine will sound absolutely fantastic. But we're here today, as I said, at the Leipzig circuit. I've never done a lap round this track. I honestly do not know what to expect in terms of this. We've got 25 other GTE cars raring to go in a 5-lap race today, and with the way Project Cars can sometimes go, let's be fair, what could possibly go wrong? And as you can see into this car, very much obviously quite like the 2016 Porsche as well, but let's get ready for this start. That's not good, I had my wheel the wrong way around. Well, after hopefully working out which way my wheel's meant to be pointing, that's probably not ideal to be entrusted with one of these cars. It's 5 lights, and away we go here at Leipzig. I'm going to try and be quiet for the start. I'll give you guys this first lap with just the in-car audio. Was an interesting little bomb I've never heard before there from Project Cars, so I think that's something new as well, but we'll obviously leave that little bit of in-car audio from the start. As you can see, the AI are already, well, they're piling up on each other as much as they possibly can. I think the nature of this circuit doesn't exactly leave you with too much close action. Well, I say it's very close action, but probably not the cleanest action, especially with the way Project Cars AI can be. They like to park the bus, as you can see there as we dive down the inside of a couple of the Corvettes here, but this track so far is very good fun. I must say this Porsche as well is very drivable, because it hasn't got ABS, it doesn't actually feel that bad under the brakes, as you can see there, just fighting the back end ever so slightly in towards this odd little chicane there to try and break up that long flowing corner. At the back end though, considering it's got traction control, is a little bit hairy. I think we can all safely agree there, but we've just about survived the first lap of this race. I think that's, yeah, that is the start-finish line there, so we have just about made it. We're at 5 positions as well here, so hopefully we can try and carve my way through the field a little bit more in this car. And as soon as I say that, well, we've dropped it there, and we've caused a pile-up for the cars behind there. So this car, it isn't just so easy as I thought it was originally. Obviously, with the way GT racing sort of differs from GT3, from those of you that aren't sort of aware, these cars are ever so slightly quicker, and they don't have ABS, which is obviously one thing that the GT3 cars do. So obviously it does mean, obviously they are a little bit quicker, but they're also can be a little bit harder to control as well, because just with the way sort of, if you lock up, it's very easy personally I find on here to lock up the rears on this game. So I think that's personally sort of like why I tend to struggle a little bit more in the GT3s. It does take me a little bit of time, and then I can sort of get a bit better there, as you can just see, well, that was terrible on me, I completely missed my braking point. I need the AI to sort of guide me around, I feel. This isn't making me look mediocre at best at Project Cars, so hopefully we can try and continue on a little bit better. I feel like we're not going to be racing the AI for much more of this race. Through that little chicane with Smart, I imagine that's almost Daytona-esque in the way. Like, oh, the back end. Don't know why the back end decided to break away from me there. It's obviously running a completely stock setup, and I must admit, it feels very, very loose around here. It doesn't seem to want to take the curves particularly nicely as well. And don't get me wrong, I'm not exactly the best person in the world on Project Cars, so I'm obviously going to struggle a lot more than a whole lot of people, but I'm usually not this bad, I hope. As we come now on to lap 3, there's the back end that's still trying to break away from me there. It's just constantly, it's mid-corner oversteer, it almost feels like. It just seems to, the back end just wants to go in the opposite direction to where you want to go. But breaking down in towards the hairpin there, hopefully we've just about sort of got that to a mediocre level. As you can see, the back end though, it tries to almost kick out, and then the traction control kicks in, and then obviously that means the power cuts out, and then it sort of just finds itself almost spinning even more because of it. So it's a little bit odd with that. Now, I was actually reading as well online the Project Cars' little piece about this, and it was sort of obviously saying about this circuit even. Obviously, it is sort of meant to be themed like a lot of other circuits around the world. I know there was a little bit they were saying about how the first couple of corners is like, I completely forget there's a chicane there. That was certainly not the ideal thing to do, but the first few corners they were saying are a little like Suzuka. Obviously you've got the hairpin, which is something to be almost like a Lowe's hairpin at Monaco type of effect. Now whether it actually is like that or not, I think is a very, very different question. But overall, I can see this track actually bringing a lot of good racing. Hopefully they sort of bring another couple of layouts to it as well. And if they can, maybe say without a couple of the chicanes that I keep forgetting about. But overall, this track is good fun at the moment. Obviously, I'm not doing particularly well, I can safely agree to that. But this car as well is very, very enjoyable if you exclude all the mid-corner oversteer. So that can usually be fixed with a bit of a setup. You can just see there, just trying to snap out right at the very last moment as we come now down in towards the next couple of corners there. Just mid-corner oversteer all over the shop there. That was a snap oversteer as well. It's an interesting car to drive. I'm sure obviously people that are a lot better than me, as I said, will probably fare a whole lot better in this car as well. Trying to make sure we pinpoint just about the 100 metre board there. That might be a little bit late on the way in, but it does mean we get an alright run on the way out there. I think we can be happy with that one. Hopefully this final lap can overall be quite a good, like, semi-respectable one there. As you can see coming through. Oh, back end once again, trying to kill me. But yeah, I think this Porsche pack will be very, very interesting to see, you know, how many people get it. I think it'll be a very, very interesting question. Because as I said, obviously I would have thought for a lot of people it will mainly be because of this car. I can't imagine obviously there's many other series that will use some of the 1970s or the Porsche Carrera GT, but I'm interested to see how that stacks up against some of the other cars in its class as well. I certainly want to try and make a video on that with that screaming V10. That should be very, very enjoyable to make as well. Oh, that back end is still trying to kill me now. But let's move on then into the final lap of the Grand Prix. See what these 4 laps of practice have done. Hopefully we can try and set some lap of mediocrity at best. Braking all the way down into 3rd gear for this sort of first couple of corners there. We managed the mid-corner oversteer now. Braking. Oh no, we ran deep. That's the lap's aborted. We've ruined it now. And now we'll go for a bit of spin as well. Traction control is working well on the grass. Yeah, this car, I think, as I said, you know, setup will probably be absolutely crucial with it, but it does feel very, very sensitive at this moment in time. And I think that's sort of like, although obviously I know this and Forza are very, very different, that's something I noticed on Forza Motorsport 7 as well when they brought this car out. It's just a bit, it's very, very, very leery. It's constantly trying to go against you, and I think for a lot of people, they'll really, really like that. But for others, obviously, it can probably be tuned out of it, I would have imagined. But obviously, I'm not exactly the best tuner in the world there as we go for another snap. It's nice to see, especially with the way, obviously, the GT3 lineup on this game is so, obviously, so varied and so just generally incredible on the whole there as we attack those curbs as much as possible. It's going to be interesting to see. Slow down to avoid it being given a slowdown. I think we've got rid of that one now. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much sort of an emphasis they have next on the GTE lineup on this game, because there's certainly, you know, obviously, where it is quite similar to GT3, just a little bit more difficult. Obviously, people will really want to be trying to push themselves in this car as well as I go to look at my monitor. And well, we've rambled out the final corner there, but we've just about survived 5 laps of this Leipzig circuit there. So, well, I wouldn't say it was my finest performance on Project Cars I think we've ever seen in terms of what was sort of I'm trying to see if we had another Porsche in that race, because I don't feel like we did. Trying to look down the roster. No, it appears that we were the only Porsche in that race there. Oh no, we might. No, that's a BMW. So I was trying to spot the German flags then. So interestingly enough, we actually were the lone Porsche in that race, which is a little bit interesting. Overall, I would imagine it probably stacks up quite well relative to most of the field. Obviously, as I said, I'm not very good at the moment. So we were in the 36s. Most people were sort of in the 34s, the 35s. So certainly there was a whole lot more time to find on my lap. So I imagine, obviously, usually Project Cars' balance is fairly decent. Sometimes there's one car that's a little bit overpowered, then another car that's a little bit weak. But I'm sure, obviously, if there are issues with it like that, then they'll get that fixed in the next few weeks. But hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this video. As I said, my driving sucked. I can only apologise for that. But do not forget to like, subscribe if you did go on to enjoy. I would highly, highly recommend trying out this car. It's very, very interesting to drive. Leipzig as well. For my first time, I don't feel I sort of did too badly. I didn't do exactly very well either. But hopefully it was still an enjoyable race for you guys as well. You can see, obviously, I was still working quite hard on the wheel. But as I said, hopefully you've enjoyed. If you want to see a video on the Carrera GT, don't forget to leave it down in the comments. And I will hopefully see you guys next time for a brand new video.